Welcome to Homesroom. Just like Homeroom, we start off our day getting together with our homies, swapping stories, even a little kiss and tell action. This podcast contains language not suitable for younger listeners, topics about sex and mental health. Discretion is advised. Our views are our own. Let class begin.
I had to hit it with one of those, and you knew it was coming. Happy spooky season! So yeah, there's that. We got a guest for you on this one, and I'm super excited. We also, as you could hear by that dude, my amazing co-host is also here. What's up, Caitlin?
What up, Matt? I gotta tell you, I have on prior episodes I've said like I love sitting down on a regularly scheduled night and just like expressing creativity for like a set hour of my week. But I will tell you that as soon as you hit record and I hear the theme song, it's just like I just fall into a vibe. I'm just like, attention, I'm here. I'm ready to do it. I love our theme song.
Good. Shout out to Spencer McKenzie Brown once again, coming in with the I just love big beats, and it's a big beat. So this week we got a guest, and we're going to, I guess, revisit a guest that we had last spooky season. And this time Caitlin gets to do the interview, which is always exciting. And it's our ghost hunter friend, one of my personal really good friends, Morgan. What's up? Welcome back.
Hey! So happy to be here again. I'm really excited. We might have a cat join us again. I think the cat joined us last time too, but yeah.
Well, that's totally fine. As soon as the intro started playing, my neighbor's Great Dane started barking. So, it is what it is. If we hear random background noises, as long as it's not one of my feral toddlers, we're good.
Funny story. I almost always have a dog barking in the background here. My neighbor's dog is almost always out at this time. And usually it's not out at this time. But for whatever reason, whenever we record, that's the time that dog decides to go out. But a neighbor complained about them barking all the time, so it's one of those dogs that doesn't have like a like the bark box thing, so like it sounds really, to me it's really loud and obnoxious. So I don't know how that's better, but there's that. Has nothing to do with ghosts or ghost hunting. This interview does though, so we'll keep it on track. I do want to say shout out to all of our spooky season loving people, and when this episode airs, it'll be full on spooky season. So anybody that's decorating now in our timeline in September, I love you. Good job.
Matt, one of our neighbors has a huge skeleton that goes out in the front yard, and it is the exact same thing as Skelly Big. So my toddlers just now figured out that is what it is. As long as we drive past Skelly Big in daylight, they're not freaked out. But when we drive past it at night and the eyes are glowing, my 3-year-old says, "Mommy, it's a scary skeleton." I'm like, "Well, babe, you got a lot of years of spooky season to get on board with it." But like Matt said, he has thankfully turned over the steering wheel for this interview to me, and I am so freaking excited about it. Morgan, I have to tell you, as part of interview prep for this, I listened to your first interview with Matt. Thank you so much for joining us again. I really appreciate it. How are you doing?
I am doing fabulous. It's just been a really good time preparing for spooky season, and I am super, super excited for this year.
I have some really interesting questions. I hope that may or may not stump you a little bit. The rabbit holes on my Google search history that were initiated as research for this interview, I'm so excited to share with you. So first and foremost, Morgan is coming back to us again. This is our second interview with her. The first one I was not able to join. If you did not check out our first regular series, we have a couple regular series here on Homesroom that we do. Please go check out Morgan's initial interview with just Matt. Luckily, Matt invited me to join. I am welcome to join. Morgan is a ghost hunter. Is that a accurate phrase to say, or is there a different terminology that you would prefer to use?
Ghost hunter's fine. Paranormal investigator, whatever you want to use, I am good with.
That sounds way fancier. 100% support paranormal investigator. Okay, so Morgan is also a part of a paranormal investigative team called Apex Paranormal. They are at the Apex Paranormal on Instagram. Please check them out. They have events. They are really interesting and educational Instagram posts. Part of my research for this interview. So please check them out. Morgan, I got to tell you, first and foremost, I will own straight up from the get-go. Matt kind of hinted at it in your prior interview. I am a skeptic. Okay. However, I've been pretty transient the last decade of my life with college and grad school or whatever. I live near St. Louis. So the Lent Mansion is like a big haunted haunted attraction. I also lived in a small town called Radford, Virginia for my master's degree program where St. Albans Sanatorium is there. It's a haunted former asylum. So I didn't realize it until I was sitting down to prep for this interview, but like haunted places and like haunted stories have kind of been a constant in my life. And it's almost been like a way to get familiar with the areas and the new parts of the country that I'm living in, is to just bond with my new friends about hauntings and ghastly crimes and stuff that have occurred. So first and foremost, before we dive into my fun creative questions, part of your prior interview was just a brief introduction to terminology. So can you please revisit that pretty briefly and just talk about like some preferred terminology or some just regular terminology of paranormal investigating that would help catch our homies up to speed about what this conversation might look like in terms of like ghosts. And
so we definitely have the paranormal investigating. It can be termed as ghost hunting. That's fine. And let's see, we have different equipments that we use. We're actually going on the lighter side of equipment lately because I don't know if you're going to ask about this later, but we seem to get more interaction with less equipment. We still use it, but like our ghost box, that is what the spirits can speak into, and then we can hear them through radio. What is it called? Frequencies. So they're able to pick those up. We can hear them. We have quite a few specialty ones made for our group, and they're really cool to work with. We have just trying to think of like my favorite equipment. We have there's like a light rope that is very popular and it's easy to use that will light up for us. And all these things are called different names through different groups, so it's kind of hard to pin them down, but we're pretty consistent with the names of our equipment, what we do, what kind of sessions we have, because we normally do investigative sessions. Then we'll do like dead time where we'll just sit there in the quiet and see what we can hear, feel, sometimes see things, see what we can pick up, just sitting there and seeing if anything wants to communicate with us. So dead time is probably something that you'll hear. Like if you watch any of our YouTube videos, we've started to use that a lot. And there's Estes sessions where a person is in deprivation mode in another room and people are asking questions from another room. This is a popular method that's used amongst a lot of paranormal investigators or ghost hunters. There's also the deprivation sessions where you have the noise canceling headphones, but you're hooked up to a recorder, so everything is amplified through our headphones. And then we also do a blindfolded, and we're sitting in a room by ourselves. Sometimes we're like floors away from people, or we could be in the next room. There's usually cameras and stuff on us too, so it's a live feed. People know what's going on, so there's no like danger or anything in this. I know some people are afraid because they think something's going to happen to them, but most likely no, nothing's going to happen to you. So,
which I appreciated. In your first interview, you said that like, you know, the majority of your encounters, they're not harmful. They're not going to cause you harm. So, okay. Backtracking a little bit. I've said in prior episodes, I am a skeptic. I am, please check out our last Halloween series if you haven't. We talked about how I've really only had one prior experience that I had that kind of made me question my standpoint as a skeptic. However, I really appreciated that you, in your prior interview with Matt, talked about how you have to be open-minded to experience these encounters. So I, as a skeptic, what are some things that I can do? Like, what are the actual steps / any advice that you have towards somebody who's maybe not super open to it, to be open-minded going into an experience like that? And also, Morgan, it is okay if you say, sorry, too bad, it's not going to work. I personally, since being here as Matt's co-host, I'm far more open to different experiences than I've ever had, especially listening to your first interview with Matt. That really just stuck out to me because I felt a little bit called out. Maybe you two can at me next time you talked about somebody being closed-minded to spiritual encounters, whatever. That's totally fine. But how is somebody that is maybe a little bit closed off or not open-minded? What are some things that we can do to go into a ghost hunting or a spiritual encounter research endeavor to be open-minded?
So I feel like the first thing, don't laugh at this, but go and touch grass. Like, ground yourself. Yep. Be like, okay, I'm going into this. I might experience new things. This is okay. Ground yourself. We have someone in our group. Her name is Ashley. She's really good at leading like grounding sessions. So we're all in there. We ground ourselves. That makes us sound like we're in trouble. We're not in trouble. We're just touching grass and opening our minds, deep breaths. There's nothing to be afraid of. So if it's fear that's keeping you back, just know that there really isn't anything to be afraid of. Maybe something loud or scary could happen, but it's not going to hurt you. So first thing, go touch grass. And when you get inside, if you have questions, ask. If I'm leading a tour or an investigation, I'm very open to questions, and I'm happy to help with whatever way that I can to make people feel more comfortable. Because I can talk a lot or I can talk a little. I just want people to feel comfortable and be able to open up and experience it. And I think feeling comfortable is a way that you can experience things. And then as the night goes on, continue to ask questions, try out new things. Like if you want to try out a spirit box, ask one of us, we'll probably have it. Or if you want to go put a cat ball somewhere, or if you want to walk down a hall by yourself and just sit, that's okay. And it's okay to just sit in the quiet and see what you experience. Sometimes things happen, sometimes nothing happens, and that's okay too, because ghosts don't perform on command. So we just have to be patient with that. So even going in as a skeptic or non-believer, maybe the first couple of times you do it, nothing's going to happen. But then you go in like a fourth or fifth time and you keep doing it, and then stuff starts to happen as your mind is opening up too.
So in your experience, you kind of mentioned that like skeptics might be fearful or whatever. In your experience with skeptics, what do you believe are some of the reasons why people are apprehensive to like buy into this being a legitimate thing? Like I personally, I'll fully own, I'm fearful that spiritual endeavors or spiritual entities are here and that I can have full-on conversations with spiritual entities, because that's going to make me question every aspect of my reality. And I don't think that my little pea brain can handle that. So yes, fear is probably a little bit about it. I also, Matt and I just recorded an episode about being raised in super religious kind of, whatever. I totally can see how some people would just have no openness or no availability or bandwidth to be able to approach a spiritual encounter because they believe that anything is going to be of the devil and, they don't want to not get into heaven because of Jeebus and all this other stuff, whatever. In your personal experience, I have to believe that you've encountered a couple skeptics in you and, going out and doing all of this research and the field research. Like, you are the subject matter expert. Other than fear, what are some reasons that you think that people are skeptic about being open-minded to having these types of encounters?
Because they've never experienced anything before. I think that is one of the big things. Like, they've never heard or seen anything, so therefore it doesn't exist. And then there's also the religious aspect. They're like, oh, I don't believe in spirits because I'm very religious. And I'm like, let's look at your religion real fast. You're believing in spirits. You're believing in a God. You're believing in Jesus. You're believing in these spiritual figures. So they do believe in it, but they believe in it in a different way.
I mean, homies, y'all had burning bushes and fucking angelic voices talking
and
to you.
Seas parting. Like, that's all supernatural. That's not something that would happen, just on an everyday basis.
Okay, so I've been very open about the fact I work in law enforcement. I'm an analyst. I don't carry a badge and a gun. I am the agents that I work with are the door kickers. I just help make sure that it's the right door getting kicked in. However, for critical incidents and command posts, I have what's called a go bag. Okay, I have a bag in my cubicle in downtown St. Louis. Shout out, love you, go bag. That has an extra pair of contacts, glasses, extra phone chargers, all kinds of fun things that are my go bag. What is in your go bag for your spiritual encounter field research? Like if you were going out and you're doing all of these ghost hunting, I don't want to water it down or cheapen the experience by calling it ghost hunting, but what's in your go bag when you go out into the world and you try to have an encounter with a spirit?
So I definitely have a little recorder that I take with me that will set it up, put it out. You don't necessarily have to stay with that recorder. You can just put it somewhere. And then I have my little flashlights, even though I don't use them that often because I try to get into I want my eyes to adjust to the dark because I feel like I see things better once they're adjusted. But I always have my flashlight and my recorder. Sometimes I have some little cat balls. They're just little light up balls.
I'm sorry, what? My sister just got a kitten, so I know exactly what the hell you're talking about, Morgan. You're telling me you bring cat toys?
Mm-hmm. That is one of the easiest things to do. If you look up ghost balls, they're the same thing, but they cost more. So look up cat balls, cat toys. Go buy them
in today's economy, Morgan. I really appreciate it.
So go buy them at PetSmart or Petco or Chewy or whatever. Don't buy them on Amazon because they're going to charge you way too much money for them. But yeah, they're just little cat toys. You put them on the ground. If something hits it, it actually has to have a physical hit for it to go off. Otherwise, it just sits there and does nothing the entire time. So when the cat goes and plays with it, it has to hit it across the room for it to light up. And those honestly would be the three things that I would bring with me. And then if I could throw something in there, it would be a little SB7 spirit box just because they're fun.
Okay, I'm legitimately taking notes for what you're telling me because believe it or not, here I am talking about these rabbit holes that prepping for this interview sent. My next question has to do with the equipment that some of these ghost hunters / spiritual encounter researchers come out and do. Okay. I went into an entire Google deep dive on the equipment that you are supposed to bring on ghost hunting adventures, which includes dowsing rods, EMF magnetic field detectors, spirit boxes, on top of the fact that if you go on Amazon.com or the app, if you are joining us in the digital age, there are entire ghost hunting kits that you can actually buy with your credit card points to go out and research these spiritual endeavors. I want to ask you, Morgan, especially keeping in mind your very simple answer that you just had for your go bag. What is some equipment that you see that is like kind of mainstream? What equipment is overrated or unnecessary in your personal opinion?
So I used to love them, but now I don't. Dowsing rods, because they're it's so fallible to human error, because you don't think you're moving because you're holding them like this with your fist up. You don't think you're moving, but you're moving. So you unconsciously move the dowsing rods where you want to. Not saying that some people actually get responses from those, but it's just, you have to hold it perfectly still. And when does a human actually hold anything perfectly still? Never. So there's a lot of errors in those. I used to love those because I thought I was getting like these great responses. No, it was me, and I didn't know I was doing it. But like if I go back and watch it, you can kind of see like my hands move ever so slightly on there. So I wouldn't do dowsing rods. I'm kind of skeptical on the pendulum because again, it could be human error. That turn.
What is a pendulum?
So it is a wire chain, and you have like a pendant at the bottom, and you would hold it up either over a little spirit board, or you would tell it to go one way for yes, one way for no. But again, that's human error. Like, is our brain unconsciously making that move for us? So it's hard to figure out, like, are these really answers? Are these not answers? Like, it's just too much human involvement in those two things. The EMF detectors are good, but also it detects any kind of electrical thing. So even if someone didn't put their phone on airplane mode, it could pick that up. Or if someone accidentally bangs it against a wall, it's going to set that off, even if there's no electricity there. But if they hit that wall, it's going to set it off due to the vibrations. So a lot of people like them, though. I think if you use them correctly and carefully and make sure all electricity is actually off in the building and your phones are turned off, yes, it could be a good thing. So those would be like the three things that I'm skeptical and that I probably would never purchase or use, even though I've purchased all three of those in the past, and I still have them. I just don't use them anymore. So.
Morgan, I don't know what the opposite of a go bag would be. I would guess it would just be a regular trash can. I think those are things that you would just have in a trash can.
Yes.
Okay, so you have prior experiences where you have used those, like a pendulum and the dowsing rods, and use them in personal experiences and then later change your mind on them, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Legitimately, I am taking notes on this because I'm trying to be open-minded. I want to go ghost hunting after this. Right. So sorry if I'm using this as an educational hour.
Oh, no.
I'm going to go ghost hunting after this.
Good with that. I am happy to educate whoever wants to know about this stuff.
Apex Paranormal, come ghost hunting with me in St. Louis. It's fine. Okay. Okay. So my next question, as a little part of me, while I get on my soapbox a little bit here, I put myself through the lens of somebody who's not a skeptic for this next question. Okay. I'm trying to be open-minded, whatever. Like everything else in a capitalist society, late stage capitalism, depending on what type of political spectrum or rabbit hole you want to fall down, whatever, and under a capitalist society, ghost hunting and spiritual encounters have been monetized. Okay. There are the TV shows that are super entertaining, that they get like a weird reading on the EMF, and the whole 30-minute episode is about that, and like playing back recordings, and it's all super jacked up and may or may not be real. I don't know. It personally, while I was doing research about this interview and spiritual encounter research / ghost hunting in general, it grinded my gears that people, attempt to cheapen these experiences to make a buck. My perfect example, I mentioned earlier that I lived in Radford, Virginia, St. Albans Sanatorium. Every year in October, they do a haunted house. It's open to the public. Everybody pays a cover. You go in, you get to like wander around or do a little spooky, whatever, haunted house inside St. Albans Sanatorium, which, as a consumer of maybe spooky stuff, Matt and I have talked about, I'm not generally a consumer of spooky content in general. It's fine. But if I'm a spirit trapped in an old psych ward and some crazy immature high schoolers show up to where I am and pay $10 to try and get some level of entertainment, I'd be a little bit pissed. Like, I wouldn't be happy about that. So while doing research for this interview, I discovered that I actually have some ghost hunting pet peeves. First and foremost being people that cheapen the integrity of this practice or this hobby, depending on what word you want to use, to make a buck. But also people that, purchase these buildings, lean into the folklore or the haunted tales or the rumor mill, whatever words you want to use to describe it, to make a buck. Let's have a haunted dessert hour or a haunted tea time or haunted whatever the fuck, whatever. Yeah. Very surprising new revelation that I had of people that, approaching this with an open mind. Why would you cheapen the experience or call into question the integrity of these spiritual encounters with entities that are either, maybe Morgan, please educate us, that are either like trapped in a place or can give us some type of guidance or new information? Like, why would you call into question the integrity of those genuine interactions and those genuine experiences so that you can make $10 off of middle schoolers in October, So all that to say, Morgan, do you have any ghost hunting pet peeves? And do you also maybe validate my brand new conviction about ghost hunting and capitalism?
I do think that there are some groups out there that do charge way too much and pack way too many people into events. To, like you said, it cheapens the experience. If there's 20 people crammed into a room, how fun is that actually going to be? And with so many humans in the room, how do we know if it's actually a spiritual encounter or not? Or someone's just fucking around with you by knocking on the window or throwing pebbles across the ground. We don't know that. So part of Apex is that we keep our group sizes small and we keep it affordable. So everybody can experience it. We're not going to jack up the prices in October to where people can't afford it. Like, we want people to experience it. We want people who are, kind of, skeptic and, oh, bless you, Kitty, and be able to afford it and have an enjoyable time. But I think one of my ghost hunting, paranormal investigating pet peeves is when too much equipment is used. So you've probably seen that in some of the shows where they have like a REM pod, a light, a rope, and then like a ghost box, and then a bell or something, all within like 5 feet of each other. Do you think that's really going to work if you think about it? Like, it's going to be setting off each other. Like, the REM pod could set off the light rope, and then you could get something on the SB7 that wouldn't normally be there. I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves. And also, let's say you set the stuff up on the bed. Why are you going to sit on that bed? Why are you going to sit on that bed? That's going to set everything off. So you need to be further away from the equipment for it to work better. And you also need to spread that equipment out, because it could be that, the equipment's setting each other off, or the spirit is too overwhelmed. It doesn't know what to do if there's a million things for it to do. So kind of like the students I teach, if I give them a million options, are they going to be overwhelmed with that? Yes. If I give them one or two options, is that better? Yes. So I kind of try to think of it that way with paranormal investigating, ghost hunting. Like, less is more. And I think that's like kind of how everything should be too. Less is more. And we do our best with what we have. And hopefully we don't overwhelm anything living or passed on with that sentiment. So yeah, that I think that's my pet peeve, like using too much equipment. And like you said, people freak out over like one little thing, but it's not repeatable. Science, you have
the temperature dropped 2 degrees,
yeah.
Morgan.
Oh my gosh. Let's go test over here. Is it sustainable? Did it go back up? Just stuff like that.
New piece of information to Matt and to all of our homies here on Homes Room, and to also you, Morgan. Okay. There's a question in here, I promise. A couple months ago, there was a psychic medium that came across my For You page on TikTok. Her name is Amy Bielski. Okay. She was notably on Jelly Roll's wife's
podcast.
I
know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Bunny XO. Okay. I will totally own and admit I was in the depths of my grief. Morgan, if you don't know, both my parents are dead. Hi, what's up? Dark humor. It's totally fine. It's my normal. I'm very open about it. Obviously, all of our homies listening to this interview are like rolling their eyes like, okay, we get you. That's fine. Amy Bielski, once I saw a clip of her on Jelly Roll's wife, it's the Dumb Blonde podcast. Once I saw one clip of her, she was all over my For You page. One night I was in the depths of my grief, and I wanted so deeply the opportunity to potentially connect with my deceased parents from the other side that I actually booked an hour consulting session with her. However, listen to this shit. I booked a session with her. She was so far booked out that it is not until July of 2025 that I am on her scheduled list of hour-long psychic medium consults. Okay. On top of that, I paid $700 to consult with her.
Oh my.
Okay. You want to talk about the depths of grief I was feeling? I also was very inundated with her content she was posting and all of the stuff about mediums and the clips that she was posting about having these hour-long consultations, and these people that were signing up were like, oh my gosh, I didn't tell you that fact. Oh my gosh, you know that. That's so weird. We didn't tell you that we buried our grandpa with a blue handkerchief, and this is what you know. Whatever. Okay. Being a skeptic, there's a Google form that you're supposed to fill out. And it's like, tell me a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about your deceased loved ones. Upload a picture. I uploaded very old pictures of my mom and my dad. I only provided their first names. Still approached filling out the Google form as a skeptic. Happily will circle back on maybe the 4th series of the Halloween episodes of the Homesroompod podcast when I do finally have my consultation with her. All this to say, we talked about pet peeves. We talked about, public consumption of spiritual encounter content. What is a very distinct difference in your experience between people like you and people like Amy Bielski, who are self-admitted spiritual mediums who are charging people $700+ an hour for over a year out for the hope and possibly the possibility of an interaction with a very close deceased loved one?
Whew.
Sorry if that was a loaded question.
So I do know some psychic mediums, but in no way do they charge $700 with the hope that someone might contact a specific person. So,
Morgan, I might have got.
because like the one thing that I believe is that spirits don't go on command. So what if at that time, like your parents, they don't want to talk to this Amy person.
Mm-hmm.
Like they might want to talk to you, but they don't want to talk to Amy. And Amy's going to be like that block there for you. And also the fact that she had you fill out a Google form with your information on it. So she could possibly, like, I don't know, if she would have time to research, look through your Instagram or Facebook or, you know, listen to the show a little just to figure out who you are. So I think it has to be approached as like an anonymous person, like someone else asking for you. And maybe that psychic medium will get some information, because I've actually had that happen with me before. Because I've been like, you know, like spiritually blocked. That's why I had to go touch grass one time, because I was spiritually blocked. Nothing was happening to me. So they did talk to a psychic medium anonymously. They didn't know who I was, but they're like, try doing this. And it wasn't go touch grass. It was some other stuff to try to open up and everything. And you know, I think it has to be more anonymous for it to be like genuine. Because it just the fact that, here, fill out this Google form, tell me all about you, and then I'm going to come up with a psychic reading for you.
Morgan, you remember that one time we were talking about capitalism and ghosts?
Yeah.
I think I got. And if I am not happy, Amex will be hearing from me. I will tell you that much.
Do you get a refund for it? It's not going.
Babe, I'm gonna try,
Okay.
and I will promise to you and to Matt and to everybody else, I will happily experience that and report back on my experience, especially for somebody that wants to charge so much for. It's, you know, the potential of taking advantage of people that are so lost in their grief to charge so much. I'll happily experience that through the lens of a skeptic, as somebody that filled out the Google form as a skeptic. I'll report back on that in over a year when it happens, homies. What's up? So Morgan, when you go into these ghost, you know, these spiritual interactions, you know, I think a lot in the prior interview that you had with Matt, and maybe some of the things that you've touched on here in this interview, it's like you show up to these places and you are just opening yourself up to the possibility of spirits. If they're there, here I am, let's chat, kind of thing. Have you ever had experiences where you show up to specific places and you're trying to make contact with specific spirits, or you have the intention of having a conversation with a specific deceased person or deceased spirit? Or like, is that like a technicality of the practice? Like, please educate us.
So I've done it for like my personal stuff. I haven't done it with the group or anything, but I went to the cemetery one time and I wanted to speak with my grandpa and my grandma. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I did have weird things happen, but I don't know if I was talking to them or not, because I didn't get any specific responses. I had like something thrown behind me when there were like twigs cracking behind me and nobody else was in the cemetery. But how do I know that was them? I don't know that was them. Or it could have been an animal that I just didn't see. I wasn't fast enough to turn around to see it. Or, you know, like, there's just so many possibilities. But that's the only thing I can really think of, is that I've gone to the cemetery to try to talk to my grandpa and grandma. I would hope that maybe they can hear me. But do I need to be in that place for them to hear me? Probably not. It's easier on my mind to try to do that. Sometimes I try to research things, so we'll use like names to see if we can get responses. I don't think it. McIntyre Villa up in Atchison, Kansas. There's some specific names that you can use, and sometimes you get responses, but not like 100% of the time. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like you just show up to a place with an Ouija board and you're like, hey, what's up, Rob?
Yeah.
You want to talk to me?
No.
Hold on, wait. Say that again. What is that board called?
A Ouija?
Okay.
A Ouija?
You just said it really weird. I think you pronounced it slightly strange. I'm going to have to go back and listen to that on the recording.
You're totally fine. I was also born and raised in the Bible Belt, and those were not allowed to be talked about. So maybe my pronunciation's wrong. It's totally fine.
That was just funny.
If I'm here, homies, it's here for comedic relief. It's totally fine. So can you tell us a little bit more about Apex Paranormal? You mentioned in your prior interview that you were involved in a different organization. What is Apex Paranormal? What's the, like, how many people are involved in it? And like, what is, like, do you pay money to like have a club to go like chill and look for ghosties? Like, what do you do? What is that?
No, I don't pay anything, but I did have to go through an extensive interview process to be a part of the group. There are currently, let me count, members of the group. I think we currently have 7 people, if I'm counting correctly. And there's Elijah. He started the group way back when. Their first like major investigation was the Missouri State Penitentiary, and that is a huge place. I've never been there before, and I hope to go there soon. And then we have Shannon. She is our history person. She does so much research and a lot of work, and usually like comes up with our calendar and when we go and film stuff. And then we have Liam and Jenny. Jenny also does a lot of the research, and she's on a few historical societies. And then there's me and Ashley. And then there's Ed, who has joined us for a few things. He took a back seat for a minute, but I think he's back now, and we're going to have a great time. Ashley and I are the newest members of the group. So we're like the food bitches sometimes, and that's okay. I don't mind.
I love it.
Going and getting the food. I'm okay with that. I will pay my dues. But we run local events in October and also different parts of the year. We do have events up in Iowa also. So keep a look on the Facebook page. And we'll also do some up in Atchison and St. Joe. Let's see. I'm trying to think. We travel around and we film episodes for our YouTube channel, and they are pretty amazing. I'm really excited for this season to drop. We've done some fun things and gotten some amazing evidence that we cannot wait to show you. I can't say more right now because I don't want to like ruin the surprise of the episode, because I am so excited. And I just was very redundant there, and I'm sorry, but
no, you're totally fine. I'm literally pulling up YouTube right now to subscribe to the channel, because as somebody who's a skeptic but very open to having my position changed, I want to consume that content. I want to see it. Of course, I want to see your beautiful face and support Apex Paranormal. I will also offer, if you are ever in St. Louis and you need a skeptic who's going to be entertaining for your YouTube videos, hit me up. I'm here. I'll probably do it for free just because I just love to meet new friends. And it's spiritual, and like spiritual encounters and the paranormal have always been kind of like this fictional genre of content for me. Like, I had one specific interaction where I'm pretty sure it was maybe my mom that like whispered in my ear when I was in college. That was like, family is everything. I woke up from a deep nap and my sister was knocking on my dorm room door, and we had to have a clarifying conversation because we were fighting. So it was like my mom whispered in my ear, family's everything. I got a knock on my door and it was my sister, and we had a creative discussion / argument. where I was, I didn't tell her for like months after. I was like, hey, you remember that one time that we like had a fight, but we like made up in my dorm room after we had like a really big issue? That is the only time that I've ever had some type of interaction that have been like, that was really fucking weird. I woke up from a deep sleep to very clearly family is everything in my ear. And then my sister knocks on my door. I want to open myself up to these types of encounters. I want to see what Jefferson County, Missouri, and the ghosties that are here, or the spirits that are here, want to tell me and show me. So maybe I'll just go wander through the woods with a cat toy and a, voice recorder and see what I can find. We've kind of touched on it a little bit with, people monetizing or cheapening these experiences. But Morgan, specifically, what are some misconceptions about this hobby or, like this art form? I'm comfortable calling it this art form after you've educated so much about equipment, necessities. What are some common misconceptions about spiritual encounter research that you would like to personally right now go on the record and give your viewpoint on?
That people think things that occur like all the time, like it's one thing after another. No, sometimes you just got to sit there and wait. Sometimes you don't get anything for a couple hours, and sometimes you get a ton of shit all at the same time, and it's amazing. So it's kind of like I said before, ghosts don't perform on command. They talk to you when they want to talk to you. You can't force them to do anything. And I feel like some of the shows that you see, it looks like everything is occurring, but what you don't see behind that is that they're actually filming for 3 to 4 days, and that is 3 to 4 days worth of stuff that they put into an episode that looks like it's either 1 or 2 nights. I know like Ghost Hunters used to have night 1 and night 2, where they were just like, oh, we're just staying one night over here and then we're going to get the evidence and go. No, most of the time they're there a little longer, and that's okay. It's just the magic of TV that they're trying to do that. So people like go in there and expect things to happen right away. Sometimes the area has to get warmed up a little, like you got to warm up to play a baseball game or a roller derby. It just doesn't happen right away. Stretch those muscles.
I love that. I also just pulled up your YouTube video the Apex Paranormal YouTube channel, and I'm already hooked. The video that I see is Mineral Springs Hotel, season 3, episode 6, season finale, where you went to the Mineral Springs Hotel in Alton, Illinois. Yeah. I'm currently investigating street gang violence and NIBIN ballistic evidence in Alton, Illinois. So I have a special place in my heart for Alton, Illinois. I thank you so much for going ghost hunting there.
Yeah, the team, we hope to visit that again because Ashley and I were not on the team yet. So we didn't get to be in that episode, but we want to go back there. That is one of our wish list places to go back to again because, oh man, just watch the episode. It's so good. I really enjoyed it.
I'm going to. I literally have it pulled up on a tab. I'm going to do this as soon as we stop recording. But, last question. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you so much. I do genuinely, first of all, I'm thankful for my self-restraint that I didn't just press buy now for all of the very complicated ghost hunting kits that I saw on Amazon earlier today when I went on my research prepping for this interview. But last question that I have for you, Morgan. What are your top 3 dream locations in the entire world for you to go to and do some paranormal research and hope that you open yourself up to having some spiritual encounters? Top 3.
Okay. So this is a new top 3 for me because I just found out about this place. And of course I had to do a deep dive in it, but it's Bannack, Montana. It is a whole ghost town that is haunted. Bannack, Montana. So I was looking at something and I found that, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to go there now. But that would be a very long trip because that's like a 2-day drive to get up there.
Okay.
And then, honestly, any of the old West ghost towns I would like to go to. I'm not like picky. I just want to go experience one because some of them are very popular and they'd probably be harder to get into. But just the old like Wild West ghost town with all the shootouts and stuff like that. And then up in, what is it? South Dakota. Why can't I remember the name of it right now? And I've been there. I just didn't have a chance to investigate. It's close to Sturgis. Oh, what is it called? It will come to my mind as soon as I like.
You said North Dakota?
Or South Dakota. Like
South Dakota.
Like if you're on your way to Devil's Tower, it's a place that you stop in. What? Oh my gosh. But that is one place that I want to go.
Stand by because I think I might actually know what the heck.
Yeah. Why isn't okay? I have my phone.
Does it have like wood in it?
Deadwood.
I just had work colleagues that went for a week-long work conference there. 100% Deadwood.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you want to go to Deadwood?
Oh, just all the history that happened there. And it's such a compact little place. And a lot of the historical buildings are still standing. It's just, oh my gosh, I drove through it and I thought it was amazing. I wish I had had more time to actually experience it, but we were trying to make it to Devil's Tower. Like, didn't have time to stop. And I don't think my kids would have been that interested in stopping in Deadwood. So I sacrificed my historical, nerdy ghost self to, just head to the national park, which is great. I loved it. So no regrets, but also I want to go back there.
Well, maybe you and your pals at Apex can get back to Deadwood at some point. Morgan, thank you so much for entertaining me and my ridiculous questions for the last hour. Thank you so much for joining us for a second interview here on the Homesroom podcast. Please plug all of your socials and everywhere where hopefully all of our very interested Homesroom listeners, if they want to find out more information about Apex Paranormal, the events that you guys host, and watch some of your content, where can we find that?
Okay. So it would be our Facebook page. I think it is just Apex Paranormal. Let me make sure of that. I should have looked that up before. But yeah, it's just Apex Paranormal, and it has the pride flag with the ghost as the banner, and then just the big logo as the picture on there. So you can go and like that. All our events are posted on there, as well as our website. It's the Apex Paranormal, so the same as the Instagram page. All our events are also on there. That will take you to the Eventbrite place, and then you can buy the tickets. There are lots of tours, mini ghost hunts, and also full-on investigations coming up. So if a skeptic wants to come in, I would say go for the haunted history tour first, and then move your way up. So you're like, oh, I really enjoyed this haunted history tour. I'm going to come next week and do the mini investigation. Oh, I really love this mini investigation. I want to go to the full-blown investigation. So we kind of ramp it up like that. So if people want to do it that way, they can dip their toes in, or they can dive on in however they feel like it. So, but we're very active on Facebook and Instagram, and then also our webpage is updated frequently. Shannon does that. Elijah does that. They're amazing. They do a great job.
Well, perfect. Thank you, Shannon and Elijah and all your other friends at Apex Paranormal for updating and giving us wonderful content that I'm so excited to just fall down a rabbit hole. I literally have your YouTube channel pulled up on my computer. I'm going to start watching videos as soon as we're done recording. Homies, as a skeptic, I hope that you always approach different viewpoints and just take it from the perspective of being able to hear them out, open yourself up to new ideas, new possibilities. Here at Homesroom, thank you so much, Matt, for allowing us to fall down these rabbit holes. We love our Halloween series. There is definitely more to come. But yeah, we love you, adore you all, and we will catch you next week on the Homesroom podcast. Bye.
The bell is about to ring. If you want to drop us a voice message or simply ask a question, you can do that by clicking the link in the show notes below. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review. It helps more people find us. Theme music by Kinsey. More music available on Spotify. Remember, every day is a class. Go learn something.